Welcome back to MFO, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. I'm down here in the barn, and I want to talk about a topic today that I'm surprised I haven't talked about in the past. When I built this barn, I knew that I wanted to get this part of the barn, and this is where I keep my boat, and I store a couple of other guys' boats here. But I knew I wanted this to be heated. So I looked into getting a furnace to be able to heat this space. This space, and I'll just kind of show you around real quick, it's literally a 30 by 30 space. There are three boats in this garage. So this is a 3-car garage, but 30 feet long by 30 feet wide. And I knew I was going to need to get some kind of big heavy duty furnace and run gas down here to heat this barn. Well, that's not what happened. And I'm going to show you today how I heat this barn. And I tell you what, the three guys who stay here with me love the fact that this place, even in the dead of winter, is a great place to come and work. You can sit right on your boat, work on your tackle, work on your boat, do whatever you need to do. I'm going to show you how to do that, and just think what you can do if your garage or where you store your boat isn't as big as this. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher. So how did I end up heating this 30 by 30 3-car garage where I keep these three boats? Well, the answer is right up there. These are electric heaters. They're the same type of heaters that you would find if you were in the city, say, and you go into a bus stop and there's a covered bus stop to keep it heated, or a train station on an L platform, or even in your favorite restaurant where maybe there's a patio or an outside bar, and they're hardwired into my electrical system. And quite honestly, what I found out is that they are more economical than a gas furnace that I could have mounted up in the rafters somewhere and run natural gas down to my barn. These things, they're probably about anywhere between $750 to $1,000 per heater. Now, I have two of them in my barn, and I've got them centrally located in the top. And the reality is, what I do is I've got those hooked up, and then I've got them hooked up to thermostat. And what I do is I keep that thermostat typically set at around 40, 45 degrees in the wintertime. That makes sure that we don't get anything that freezes in the barn. And then if I'm going to come down and work, I'll come down and I'll turn the heat up and turn the thermostat up. I can get it to be somewhere around 55 to 60 degrees in this barn by just popping up the thermostat. And what I'm doing then is I'm only warming it from 40 or 45, up another 10 degrees. If I let it get cold, which I don't want to do because I don't want the boats to freeze or anything like that, and I had to warm it 30 or 40 degrees, that would be kind of tough. But just maintaining that temperature of around 40 degrees lets me then warm it to a very comfortable 55 in a very short period of time. And so those two, installing those two, hardwiring them in, putting them into a thermostat, there's an initial amount of money, and yeah, there's an additional cost of electricity. But the reality is, I've found that these heaters work very well for this size garage. Now, just think what you could do if you had a single car garage and you just put one heater in. A lot of these heaters, you got to check the specs and you got to make sure, but these heaters would heat a single car garage just fine. And this was the decision that I made for this garage setup down here. Now, obviously, one of the other things that I did, and you can see it on the wall behind me, I insulated the walls of this pole barn. So I made sure that, this is just a steel pole barn. Put insulation on each of the walls, put up drywall, taped them all up, sealed them so that, and the ceiling itself is insulated as well. And that helps me to keep this heat that these heaters put out, helps it to, keep it in there. I don't know that I'd be able to do that without the insulation around all of this area. So that's an important part that you have to do if you're going to heat your garage. I absolutely highly recommend insulating it. Like I said, I'm surprised that I haven't talked about this in other episodes, because I think a lot of guys are kind of surprised when they come in. That's the way that I keep this area warm. Not sure what you think about it. I'd love to hear your comments, but give it a shot or think about it if you've always wanted to put your boat in a heated garage for the winter. Let me know your thoughts on it, and we will see you again tomorrow on another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.